Doubles and Coffee, 100 days plus. UNC government, Kamla Bissessa, Prime Minister. How you feeling? You could see the difference, you could feel the difference, you could feel the care, you could hear the passion. If you didn't listen to Kamla Bissessa, your Honorable Prime Minister last night in Couva, in front of a massive crowd, if you didn't feel her passion and her energy, I suggest you go on social media, find that speech, and put your family down to listen to it, to show the clear, cogent difference between a Prime Minister who cares for you, cares about your money, respects you, respects the processes, financial propriety, and getting the resources to work for the people. Go and listen to your Prime Minister. But this Doubles and Coffee, Penelope Beckers, something had to be wrong with you. Because you come to let somebody in Rowley Pass life, Rowley Pass advisors clearly write something for you to critique and criticize Kamla Bissessa's first 100 days. Penny, it's best you had hush. It's best you had stay silent, like in the Children Life on debate and so on. The first two debates in Parliament where you sat down there for a little bit of time, quiet with your head down, and then you left early. You should have stayed silent because the Douglas going and give a 100 days of PNM Penny. Penny under the PNM, PNM under the Penny. So Penny, look at your 100-day track record. You ready, Penny? Because you should have asked, because I never read so much nonsense. 5 pages of dishonesty, of lies, of abject, total, superficial, political, like you, nothing about you, Penny. The more you talk, just like Stuart Young, is the worse it gets for you, Penny. Let me start with Penny's PNM 100 days as leader of the opposition after that decimating defeat of which she was part and parcel. Penny, you were there all the time. For the 9.5 years, you were in a foreign posting, you were diplomat, you were making policy for foreign affairs. Then you came back as a minister holding portfolios of planning and housing. And Penny, you did nothing. You took a picture in front of some mailbox, Penelope Beckers. Nobody could remember anything that you have done in your 25, 26 years of active politics. So, first of all, Penny, Stuart's one day, $87,000 plus $390,000 monthly pension as a selected, not elected Prime Minister. You could not stand up and tell the population that you disagree with that you believe that people must work for that sort of money. Stuart Young is a young fella, so if he lived 30 years, that's over $35–40 million that he would get for having been selected without a PNM convention, without the party members, without the general council, without an election, without winning, without battling, without being sworn in as a duly elected Prime Minister. And you could not say, I don't agree with that. You stood up there and your whole team abstained. You try to obfuscate. You try to look for little loopholes to get away, Penny. Penny, you look weak. You could not just say, that is elitist, that is wrong. What are we teaching our children? That you don't earn a pension. You work a little bit for a month, if so much. Really, that day. But if you really want to extend it 6 weeks, and you get over $1.2 million of taxpayers' money a year for the rest of your life, Penny, you flop and your PNM flop, and you just couldn't deal with it because you're weak, Penny. You can't stay in Parliament. You are the leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister who you and your PNM cohorts on social media trying to suggest with Kareem Marcel with the mouth open up and the lip dragging on the table, trying to present a picture that Kamla Bissessa not working and she home, and then all they're letting people send a wrong message that Renessa Cutting. And Renessa Cutting, did you get a house from the PNM, from HDC? I'm asking you, Renessa Cutting of TV6. Tell the nation how you got that house. Did you get a house? How much you qualified for? How long you had applied for? How you jumped the queue? How you get through when so many citizens didn't get through? Renessa cutting of TV6 News talking about Kamla out of the country and she didn't put her acting prime minister and she suffered a stroke and Renessa cutting, did you see Kamla Prasad Bisesa on the hustings last evening? The power, the strength, the brilliance, the passion. But Penny, you support that kind of nonsense. And Penny, you couldn't even debate. Kamla get up and debate every bill there as a prime minister. Penny, you are the first leader of the PNM to hold a special convention, a convention of the PNM in a one room in City Hall in Port of Spain. First of all, how a political party using state resources and state assets for a political meeting. But you can't even feel what happened to Shagarama's convention center. What happened to the Napa? You're going in City Hall, Penny. That's your first 100 days. The weakest, decimated, emaciated look of the PNM, desperate and weak. Faris, Foster, and Amory. Out of all the young PNM supporters who all you have and all you say bright and so on, that's who you get to put. You only have 6 to choose in the Senate. And 3 out of the 6, you choose Faris Al-Rawi, Amory Brown, and Foster Cummings. Among them, they have more questions to answer than have questions to be asked. And then fourthly, you choose Kobo Sweat Dan Paul, a man who didn't even know that a permanent secretary is not supposed to espouse the policy of the executive arm of the government, that a permanent secretary is just an accounting officer. And on Hansard, he said he was the man leading the charge for the PNM with the TTRA. That Dan Paul, who said $3.6 billion is a glitch. That's the only PNM you could find to put in the Senate. Penny, you're failing. Your first 100 days. And then you come to echo Dan Paul's nonsense about we, the UNC, come to add $3 billion for supplemental funding on the supplemental appropriation when you know your PNM called our election in the middle of the budgetary process, April 28th, and all those numbers, by the time the ministers were sworn in and get inside it, those are PNM numbers. That is PNM supplementary appropriation. That is PNM policy. That's why the disrespect for Tobago was there. Anybody who knows will know that Kamla Prasad Bisesa's first budget is coming up. Whenever Dave Tanku and Kamla Prasad Bisesa are ready, whether September, October, whenever it is, that's when the UNC starts to show Kamla's policy, Kamla's heart, Kamla's belief. Kamla come in to appropriate and to show she's putting the money where her promises are. So for you to be so disingenuous and so dishonest, you're following your leader Rowley. Penny, you start off lying in your first 100 days. You cannot control your small maxi of MPs. You cannot control your small maxi of MPs, Penny. All of them calling press conference left, right, and center without your knowledge. Nobody know who was the leader of the opposition. Because when Marvelous Marva wanted to talk, he called a press conference. Stuart Young, the former selected prime minister, he calling press conference. Faris calling press conference. Even Rowley come off the golf course, call a press conference and lie about and attack Trinidad and Tobago, its government, its commissioner, police and all. Somebody put he on our Interpol list. Nobody even thinking about Rowley. Nobody even care about Rowley. We want to get Rowley out of our mind, with body, spirit, and soul. Rowley come to call a press conference to say somebody lie on he and they stop him in Antigua. And you had nothing to say because Rowley could do what he want. Smallpen could do what he want. Faris could do what he want. Marvin could do what he want. Foster could do what he want. Because you lead nothing. You are not a leader. So don't talk about 100 days. Study yourself. Calm. Wow. The most hated man in politics by PNM, UNC, Independent, and those children that not even born yet who would read about politics is called Imbe. And that's who you select as a deputy political leader. That's your new vision. Your wind of change is called Imbe. Penelope, because you had to be crazy to even think about suggesting to criticize Kamla Persad, call Member, the man who take away people's subsidy and laugh, the most arrogant, imbecilic politician in the history of politics in the Caribbean, only because PNM is a cult. He does get vote. The PNM people who vote for him does vote as, oh God, I had to vote for Call, and you go and select Call out of your remaining PNM drabs to be a deputy political leader. And then Jennifer Baptiste Primus, who, my goodness, she nearly ready for rocking chair. But you bring her as your new vision for the PNM, Jennifer Baptiste Primus, who was a minister of Labour, and Labour get attacked and decimated. Labour get disrespected by the PNM, by Rowley, and she sat there and said nothing. That's your leader? That's your deputy political leader? And our next one who get licks from our young lady, MP Sammy, up in Kamuto Manzanilla. Faris. You have nothing to talk about Faris? Faris have questions to answer on CPEP. A learned judge sent Faris case and CPEP and Sadiq Hussain, your whole PNM crew, Joel Edwards, to the DPP. You have no comment. You have nothing to offer. You have nothing to say, Penelope Beckles, in your 100 days. Faris on Jack Warner extradition. They can't find documents signed that on court man say was there. You have nothing to say, Penny. You can't control your troops. And that's who you select. What about Faris on Nelson Gate? The indemnity that Faris signed. You didn't say nothing then and you say nothing now. But you put him in the Senate. All of these questions. And yet Faris still in the Senate. So a man go on a file to the DPP. And that's your choice to sit in your Senate out of your 6 PNM. Penny, you better check yourself. Don't worry about Kamla. Kamla going good. Marvelous Marva made the most racist statement at a PNM press conference, talking about when he see boards of Trinbagonians, he see Bangladesh and Delhi, and you said nothing. You sat there silently. Silence is acquiescence. Rowley and all the real leader of the PNM with Stuart Young Day, Rowley come and say Marvelous Marva misspoke. He was inelegant and he lied on him about the cabinet. But you, the so-called leader of the PNM, let Marvelous Marva play a race card and talk nasty, divisive stupidity. And you had nothing to say because you lead nothing. You are not powerful. You are weak, Penelope Beckles. So leave Kamla alone. Then, on the CPEP matter, you come out of the parliament and you're going to play fake empathy for poor people, you know? And you say, you come out there and you're talking about people lost their jobs. Kamla say, listen, I want more for my people. I want my people to have sustainable jobs. Jobs that they could pay the rent, pay a mortgage, get groceries. I don't want to leave my people at the lowest end cutting grass all day. What's wrong with that? If you are a mother or a father, you want what's best for your children. As a prime minister, you want what's best for your citizens. And if cutting grass is what you could fight for, Penny, that is why PNM will stay where they are. You gone to play you protecting workers. Get a lawsuit. Get your PNM lawyers who led by you. And the first lawsuit they filed for a company that gets struck off the list and had to be withdrawn. The second time they filed, the judge read all the pleadings, all the statements, and send it by the DPP. That is your track record. Oh, this thing going on. Racist attacks on Firoz Khan from your PNM soldiers, and you say nothing because Firoz Khan want people to come to work, to come and work for money, to work for the salary, to do something, to be efficient, to be productive, and you have no comment. PNM soldiers angry and livid to show up for work. You said a call about you want pan in schools. It's you who took away pan in schools. Tim Gopi Singh had pan across the board. The PNM under your former Minister of Education, Garcia, cut pan in schools. 26 years in politics, and we don't know what you did, Penny. PNM political meetings under you, 62 people, because you had no ghosts and you had no CPEP. Arima in a mess. You're promoting PNM's failing, illogical, disrespectful race card. as your politics and you want to talk about Kamla, that is your 100 days penny.